Welcome back to Book Smart Life Dumb, the May edition. Happy May 1st, everybody. If you're listening to this elsewhere, or whatever May you're listening to it on, it's episode 12. I have an update. I have an update from last week. I can hear again. I can hear out of my right ear again, and I no longer lose my balance for the sake of losing balance. That's great. That's freaking sweet. Very happy for that. I don't know. It's just weird. I was kind of worried that in cleaning my ears, I somehow damaged my eardrum. I don't use Q-tips. Some years ago, I had, and this part's a little gross. If you don't like hearing about, big cleaning, body cleaning, stuff like that. But all right. So skip ahead. Maybe start hitting that 15-second button on your platform of choice. But I had just the same feeling in my ear where it was I couldn't hear anything, and it was the right ear again. I couldn't hear anything no matter what, and I would have to physically turn my head if someone was talking to me so that I could hear them better. And this went on for I want to say a month, where if I shook my head really, 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 really hard, I could hear for a little bit, and then I would go right back to being deaf again. And I ended up buying on Amazon one of those ear cleaning I want to call it a stick. I don't want to call it a Q-tip because it's not like a cotton swab situation. But it's an ear cleaner is what we'll call it, but it has lights and a camera on the end of it, and it connects to your phone so you can see what's going on in there. Which is where I found out that after a month of being deaf and shaking my head like crazy to fix it temporarily, that I just had a piece of earwax or something that was just leaning against my eardrum. I was able to get that thing right off, and it was I could hear the ocean. It just was whoosh, this sound expansion. It was the audible version of someone wearing a blindfold and taking the blindfold off. Basically is the best way I could describe that. But I had this and my ear was doing the same thing, and I was I wonder if it happened again. And I know I accidentally touched my eardrum with it. It has a little soft rubber end on it that bends really easily. But I did touch my ear with it, or my eardrum with it rather, and it hurt. Like a pinch, I would say. Very as quick as someone pinching you and letting go. But the deafness was definitely occurring beforehand. So I was 80% sure that whatever this was, I didn't do it to myself. But there was a very loud 20% that was you're gonna be like this for 2 or 3 months while that heals. It may never be the same again. You may never be able to hear the same way again. 30 years of using your ears gone. Not to say that I don't already have some level of hearing damage. If I had to give an actual number, I would say I probably attended in somewhere in the realm of 600, maybe 650 concerts in my life. Just to work, just from doing that for 5 years of my life, with both touring and working at home venues. And it's not I wore earplugs every day. I would use them on days that that were especially loud. Some bands would come in when I worked at House of Blues, and they were insistent on really pushing as hard as they can with our systems, their systems, or people would go after they do their sound check and turn up their amplifiers. They think the sound guy doesn't notice, so they get a cheeky little, I'm going to be a little bit louder, and then you just have the guys in the monitor stand in front of house just being what the hell are you doing? Or even people who use microphones. Well, everybody does this. There's a microphone that sits in front of your amplifier, right in front of the speaker cone. And that is how that sound is captured and then pushed out to the speakers all throughout a venue. But some people would house their amplifiers. This is going to be hard. Maybe I'll draw a diagram and put it in the show notes, which, by the way, the show notes are coming back. Those will be on Patreon again. Sorry, I've had multiple weeks of just not having my book with me, but they're back today. So maybe I'll try and draw a diagram of what this looks like. But some people don't want the sound of the physical amplifier to interfere with what's going on stage and with the monitors and microphones and the PA system and the line arrays, all these speakers. So I've had a few instances where we hang out backstage where our break room is, and there's an amplifier off the stage pointed directly at us with a microphone on it. And I can't hear the band, but I definitely can hear what this one dude is playing for the next 60 minutes, where I'm just sitting with my phone or my laptop, whatever I was working on while we're waiting for the show to end, and all of that jazz. So I definitely haven't worn earplugs every single time. But that's not to say that you shouldn't wear earplugs every time. You should. You should wear some level of ear protection every single time, because the amount of times that I straight up do not hear somebody outside of the realm of like somebody talks to you and you're not expecting it. So you say what? And then they say it again and you hear it. I definitely just miss what people are saying because they're too far from me sometimes. I don't have like severe hearing damage. I don't like have a ever present ringing in my ears that I have to live with for the rest of my life. But I definitely have like some level of just hearing loss. And I try to protect my ears as best I can these days. So I thought that that's where I was headed though with this whole eardrum thing. I was like, it's going to be 2 or 3 months and all of a sudden be like, oh, I'm not good in this ear. Oh, I'm not doing too hot in this ear. Talk to my left side. It's something I could only imagine ever saying when I'm like 60 years old or something along those lines. I don't know. But yes, we're back to a fully healthy right ear on this podcast host of yours. So that's good. That's great. Let's see. What else is new though? I did kind of haphazardly put together my thoughts and my notes on my book today before we started. I did have a little bit of extra time in the morning because if you're watching a stream, last night we had a really late night. Unexpectedly, a really late night. Had some things that I had my hands in a cookie jar that was going to keep me awake 3 hours later than I wanted to be awake. But with that said, our first Q&A is on the horizon. If you are over on patreon.com/bookdumb, you'll see the Q&A post for our Booksmart tiered members as our $5 tier. They will be able to submit questions and suggestions, etc., talking pieces for an extra episode that's going to come out on June 1st on all platforms for everybody to listen to. That will not replace that week's episode. June 1st is a Monday. The following day, what is it? The following day being... The following episode will come out on June 5th. So you'll have 5 episodes a month now, unless it's a 5-week month. You'll have 5 episodes a month now, instead of just 4. Also, just a little bit of housekeeping. I figured out Patreon a little bit more. Now, if you want to listen to the edited episodes on Patreon as well, those will be up for everybody to listen to at a free level of just following the page. So there you go. There's that. Housekeeping done. It's cold again outside. We had our warm weather. And for some reason, some ungodly reason, it's been, we got our April showers in the last 2 days of April. And so now it's raining and we're supposed to get Mayflowers. I don't know. April showers bring Mayflowers. It's something I've definitely heard and I've never experienced. But I also don't I don't always pay attention to these things. I didn't look. I didn't go out there and go, yes, it is raining. April is upon us. Therefore, the flowers will be here on the 1st of May. No, as I speak right now, the rain is pitter-pattering against the window here in my office. And it is also 40 degrees. It is cold enough for me to consider not putting away my winter attire in May, in the 5th month of the year. But that's the Midwest for you. My father will tell me that it snowed just about any month. He has such a vendetta against the winter season. He'll sit there and he'll tell you about all these years he lived in Cleveland, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it snowed on Halloween. Oh, it snowed in May. I will never shovel snow again. I will never scrape ice off my car, because now he lives in Florida. He's lived in Florida for a long time, but if you talk about anything remotely close to the winter time or the winter weather, that man will make sure to inform you how he's been there and done that. He's all good. He's all good on everything that has to do with it. But yeah, it's cold out here again, and all of my winter clothes are still out. They are not in a box in my closet. They are ready for me to wear them. Let me check this weather this week. Yeah, my personal forecast is showing that it'll be as low as 38 across this weekend. The low temperatures are not breaking 50 degrees this whole week. This whole week, it's going to be raining, and it's just never going to get above 50 on the low end. It actually will never get above 70. We have a few warmer days, but there's still the lows of 48. So the cold weather is back. And honestly, I'm not complaining. I think it's odd for this time of year. I'm not one to shy away from a sunny day, but I'm also one to appreciate how nice it is and how easy it is to get cozy in the colder weather. So we've got that going for us. We've got that going for us as far as that goes. Been trying to achieve a bit better of a level of sleep lately. I wear a different sensor now for my blood sugar on my arm. And this one has a lot of alerts on it. It has a lot of events that I know I can set the parameters for and what have you, but it's not that my blood sugar is also like uncontrolled. It's just that I'm still not used to how some different foods may do different swings. Obviously, I've been eating a lot cleaner and been trying to achieve a lot better cleaning for myself. Or not cleaning. I've been trying to achieve cleaner eating for myself and for my body, which also means that my blood sugar is going to start reacting differently to the different things that I'm eating, to the insulin that I'm taking. And the nighttime highs and lows have always been something that's been difficult for me. I have some nights where I go really low on my blood sugar in my sleep, and then I have other times where I usually go rather high and I wake up with high blood sugar, which makes me nowhere remotely close to ever being a morning person, I should say. Waking up with high blood sugar is like waking up with a hangover every day. Every day. I've had a few one-offs where I wake up and my sugar's just right there and it's just perfect and I feel like rested and relaxed. And that always makes it a bit easier too. But now I find that I'm not falling asleep fast enough to beat any sort of alarm. That is just going to happen no matter what I do. An alarm is going to go off on my phone no matter what I do. It has like silent modes and everything, but I can only set them as far as a few hours. Now, the problem though is that these alarms, they will keep me awake, and I have to stay up for the extra hour, hour and a half to correct the blood sugar or eat something and sit there and wait and watch it and wait for it to get at an appropriate level or wait for it to show a trend that doesn't scare me at all. If my blood sugar is too low and I'm sleeping, it's a bit more of a recipe for disaster than it is for high. It's more of a lesser of two evils kind of situation, right? Because high blood sugar will kill me in a few months if it maintains. If I were to sit there and have a blood sugar of 300 the entire time, then my blood sugar will kill me, and all the the domino effect thereafter. If my blood sugar it were to hit 0, I die right then and there. The end. Finito. So if that happens in my sleep, scary stuff. The alarms help out, but also your body doesn't just like have it happen and then you drop dead. Especially because I would say that having much too low of a blood sugar is a much more severe feeling than high blood sugar. I went over it before when I went over the whole story of how I found out I had diabetes and how that came to be. But if you recall, I walked around with high blood sugar for months and months. And all I thought, at first I thought I was just sick, but I was able to kind of carry on and do the work that I was doing. And it wasn't really up until the very, very end where it was like, even if I tried to sit down and do a stream where I'm just playing video games, I could sit there for maybe 45 minutes max. And eventually I'm just like, dude, I can't do this anymore. I need to lay down. This is bad. But when my blood sugar is low, for one, I feel drunk. I feel like some level of drunk. And also, I'm just sweating profusely. My body is shaking. I can barely hold myself up with my own legs. That alarm is much, much, much louder. And thank God it is. And that actually will wake me up. Even if I'm laying in bed and I'm not moving right, that will wake me up from being asleep when my sugar is low without an alarm. The alarms help out too when they're not keeping me awake for an extra hour. So I've had a bit of a lack of sleep lately, and I'm trying to do better about my sleep. So I've also been trying to end my streams a little bit earlier. I've been trying to do things that kind of promote better sleep. I have some things up here, like for instance, I had a drink powder mix that my friend was sponsored by. I think he's still sponsored by them, and I still have some of it, and it's not expired yet. So I should probably maybe jump back on that because that did help me out. That did help me out big time. I don't do like any melatonin or anything like that because I'm always afraid of becoming like melatonin dependent. Always afraid of needing to rely on things. I already take like morning supplements because I'm typically potassium deficient. So I always have potassium supplements in the morning, or when I have everything to make smoothies, I always include an extra like banana in there or something like that, right? I just don't want to have to end up being a guy that is like, I've got my morning vitamins, I've got my morning supplements, and then also my bottle of melatonin, and I've got this, that, and it's like I have 5 or 6 bottles that I need to just carry on with like normal functions of my life. I know that's kind of inevitable, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, especially for those who have like a regimen of pills that they're prescribed that they need to take every week. I'm just trying to not get there quite yet. I'm trying to help delay that a little bit. So I need to figure it out. And I know I just literally just said I'm going to start drinking something to help me go to bed a bit earlier, but I don't know. It feels a bit different that way, right? It definitely feels a bit better that way. Speaking of smoothies, I've been doing some smoothies again lately. I've had some stuff from work that we were getting rid of, and nobody told me that kiwis were so damn sweet. I tried to do a simple one last night where it was water, kiwis, bananas, and a little bit of honey to help with consistency. And 5 kiwis is a lot of kiwis. I took that first sip, and it was like the first time I had a full regular sugar soda in like 5 years. And I was like, whoa, oh my God. I had to water it down, and even then it wasn't palpable. So at least I'll be able to stretch out those kiwis for a little bit. But yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot for me to take on. That was definitely a lot. My favorite smoothie, I will say, I don't really do a lot of like leafy greens in my smoothies. Not because I don't like them, but I also don't just have them on hand all the time. I don't really like have like a surplus of spinach around or kale. Kale's always been a weird one. Remember when everybody was like ranting and raving about kale as a superfood? I didn't know what kale was until that. Kale is the thing that grocery stores in the 90s and the early 2000s would stick between the bins of fruits and vegetables in the aisle. It's that like weird leafy green thing that everybody thought was a fake plant because it has such a hard texture. And then I don't think kale's necessarily bad. I wouldn't like necessarily like have kale in a salad per se because it's just a bit too like tough, I would say. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. It's strong. It's like it's somewhere between a vegetable and plastic. It's somewhere between a vegetable and chewing on a water bottle. And I know why people like a lot of people would put it in like smoothies and blend it up and you know this, that, and the other. I think kale chips are good. the dehydrated kale, and it's just got like a little bit of like a salt, kind of like dust on it, whatever you call that, whatever they put on chips for the flavors, seasoning on it. I think those are pretty all right. But again, I'm not stocking up on things like kale chips and having kale salads, or I guess even having kale smoothies. But I'm usually not a leafy green person in my smoothies, but I do think a smoothie is probably one of the best ways to have breakfast, just because it's so easy to just consume, right? I do like my eggs. I do like my eggs and bacon, your traditional like American breakfast, but I will say, big fan of the breakfast smoothie. I like to put like apples in there, or like always bananas, as we were talking about earlier with potassium. If I have them, blueberries are great, or a little bit of raspberry in there. Apples are a bit finicky for me though, because of the texture. I feel like I'm drinking applesauce sometimes. I'm very, 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 I'm very conscious of texture, but it never like shies me away. I like those fruit smoothies, and I understand there's a lot of sugar in there, but it hits a little bit differently. I find that if my sugar is elevated because I've had fruits, I find that it's actually way easier for my sugar to come down, as opposed to my blood sugar being raised by chips and salsa, or like a pizza or pasta, like the heavier things. I think it probably has something to do with how quickly your body absorbs it, right? I feel like your body's working on breaking down bread and heavier carbs for longer periods of time. I don't know. I try not to become like too speculative when it comes to how the body works in medical things, because I don't want somebody to accidentally take my word as gospel in a medical sense. I'm always very hypothetical. I'm always very like explore my mind space and sit in a dark room and talk for 30 minutes, not because I have things to say, but because I want to lead myself down these trains of thought. But when it comes to medical things, when it comes to how your body works, when it comes to something that could be perceived as medical advice, very, very, very conscientious to either say my point and move on, or just not say anything at all. I'm also in a unique position with, type 1 diabetes and things like that. So I'm always a bit hypothetical and, very lost in thought when it comes to those things too. Being lost in thought is a big part of my day, I would say, quite often. I've talked about it many, many times before, where I work allows me to just kind of let my mind drift. It's very, not thinky work. It's not very physical work either, but it's a lot of moving around and doing stuff with your hands. But I always have an ear opened for my podcast I'm listening to, or music. And it's not really like working right next to each other. I do talk to people every now and again, but it's, I work in a big building, so I don't see them all the time. There's not a lot of people around to talk to. And I did get down a thought of something I'm calling the happiness paradox. The happiness paradox is something multifaceted, and it has to do with the work-life balance, but from a financial standpoint. As things kind of keep trending and, admittedly just financially getting worse and worse and worse to live in the United States, I have to constantly change the scales in which I balance where I'm working and how I'm getting my income. The happiness paradox is twofold. You can either work where you're happy and live poor, or you can work in a place that crushes your soul and depresses you, but be financially well off. I fear that the ideology that you work, what is it? Is the ideology that you do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life is so skewed from when that was a popular concept. It's so different that I feel like people have to fall into two funnels nowadays, where you either pick one or the other. It is very rare and is very, very It's just rare. It's just rare. There's not even a follow-up word for that. It's just very, very rare to end up doing both. I feel like anytime I talk to people and play catch up with people, when I ask them how work's going, or, or they ask me how work's going, I work somewhere where I'm happy with the kind of work I do. But boy, howdy, I don't have two pennies to rub together. I talked to somebody else. They're making substantially more money than I am. But when I ask them about the quality of work they're doing, they're like, oh, I just answer the phone all day. They don't talk about how they love the work that they do and how it feels rewarding or fulfilling, or how it like flexes the creative muscles in their mind, or how it, enables the parts of them that they don't get at home. But the only positive thing they can tell me about is that they make X amount an hour, and for the work that they're doing, it feels rewarding from a financial standpoint. But also, these people work in new places. Everybody loves their job. This is something, too, that I've noticed. Everybody loves their job for the first 2 or 3 months. And then when your new job transitions from being new to being routine, that's when everybody starts hating their job. I thankfully haven't lost that. I've been at my place of employment for, I want to say, 7 or 8 months now. And while I may moan and groan about my body being sore because I walk 20,000 steps every 8-hour shift that I do, I don't hate it. I don't walk in and I'm not really upset that I'm there. But I'm just, biding my time and like waiting for these like incremental raises that we are supposed to get. And that's a benefit of sticking around longer. I have to figure out how my bills are going to be paid. And it usually isn't a difficult solution. It's not usually something where it's just like I have to take like payday loans out to figure out how to do rent or anything like that. But man, I miss when I worked a job that I hated, which was door-to-door sales. I miss when I worked a job where I counted down the minutes to get home because I would pay my rent and there was money left over. It's killing me. It's killing me to have a thought process that I would rather be somewhere that I hate because my home life felt that much less stressful. But I get to go do what I love. We'll use love in air quotes. I get to go do something I don't mind and something I kind of enjoy, but at the sacrifice of not being able to feel financially well off. If I had to go to the hospital right now and come home with a bill in my hand, you better believe that I'm doing another subathon. You better believe that I'm putting all of my luck that I have in my life into a scratch off, because I'm going to be so completely honest with you. If something happened to where I had an insane medical bill that insurance wouldn't be able to do a total coverage on, I would feel so lost. It blows my mind. And maybe this is an outcry from me because I am dealing with the insurmountable amount of stress that I take on. But at the same time, I just can't help but notice that I'm not the only one. I drove past the gas station every day this week. And every day this week, it said it was $4.99 a gallon. I'm stretching my gas tanks out now every week. I do multiple commutes to work with my light on, saying that I'm almost out of fuel. Thank God I don't work far. But I have to sit here and think about how, do I want to go drive to my mother's house? Because that would be like 3 or 4 trips back and forth to work worth of gas. It sucks, man. We're in a shitty situation, and it kills me because I feel like I've been working really hard my whole life. And I felt like I was raised on this promise that if you work hard, if you do a good job, if you put your whole effort, every ounce of what you got into working hard, that it'll all accumulate to something out there, man. And I feel like I've just sat here and I've been fucking lied to. I look back on the last 12 years, almost 13 years, because, hey, it's my birth month. I'm about to be 31. I look back on the last 30 years, not 30. I look back on the last almost 13 years since I graduated high school. And I feel like I've been riding a roller coaster this whole time. And a part of me is insanely ready to admit to myself that I'm ready to get off. This ride fucking sucks. Kind of touching base on what I talked about last episode, talking about recognizing that you grew up, you know. I don't know. I want nothing more than for everything to stop. But the happiness paradox kicks in. Because there is a will and there is a way. It's to go off and make a lot more money doing a lot of things that frankly make me lose my humanity. It would make me lose who I am. I may be stressed now, but I'm infinitely happier than the guy who goes out and makes like an insane salary. I should know. I was him too. Sorry for the not so happy, giddy, smiley final note, but I think that's where I'm going to do it. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this week. Don't forget that you can support this podcast and many podcasts like this one on patreon.com. Go check out patreon.com/bookdumb, where you can find all of our tiers and benefits for everybody. We have a Discord where people hang out and chit chat and everything, where you guys get notified that your episodes came to you early because these Patreon listeners are getting to listen to these rambling thoughts 3 days earlier than everybody else out there. You also get to participate in our Q&A, where I'm going to take a month's worth of questions and put together the best ones. And on June 1st, we will answer these questions. Things that I never even thought were questions that I needed to answer. But here we are. I could be answering them. I could be answering them for you. Patreon is also a place where you can check out this podcast as it comes out on Monday mornings, as the free tier of episodes will be available on Patreon, as well as Spotify and YouTube.com. Check out the description for all the relevant links and all that stuff. And while you're down there, tell me what you think about gas prices. All right. That's going to do it for me. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. See you next time. Bye-bye.